Hi, everyone. This is Alexandra from Hear Me Roar, and welcome to Cacao Talk episode 10 Self Awareness and How It Really Is the Key to Moving On. So, before we start, though, as usual, cacao, let's take a drink. Today, I went with cinnamon and date syrup. I don't know if it's because, the fall, the weather's changing, seasons are changing, but really drawn to that pumpkin. Total side note. Okay, so the topic, self-awareness is the key to moving on. So obviously that's a very big and broad general statement, right? And there are many, many things that someone can need in order to be able to move on. But this inspiration for this topic came up because I was talking to a friend yesterday, and we were giving ourselves the opportunity to kind of just voice out what's going on in our lives, right? And quick side note, because I do want to share this, there is a big difference between, I guess we can call it venting from a place of, I just need to voice this, I just need to express this, I just need to hear it out of my head and in front of me in order to give us even more guidance or clarity or just kind of a relief from the heaviness of it, versus venting coming from a place of complaining or coming from a place of wanting to stick in the victimhood narrative, meaning that we're sharing something with someone because we know they're going to continue buying into our story. They're going to continue adding fuel to the fire, right? So I feel like this is a very important just thing that's coming in to share, because when we voice things, when we talk about things and we choose who in our lives, which family or friends, or if we hire a coach or a therapist, it's like, where is our intention coming from? Like, why are we voicing this, right? So that just wanted to come out. And so I just wanted to give that, side note here. But yesterday I was speaking with a friend and we were just sharing, some things that we see that are still repeating in our lives, right? And then the question always that we pose is, when am I going to finally get over this, right? When am I going to get over this grief? When am I going to get over this trigger? Why do I keep getting triggered over and over again? When also in manifestation, when am I going to finally manifest what I've been asking for? I keep doing all the things I need to be doing, or I thought I worked through that. And so if that's natural, right? Like, we're not where we want to be. So naturally it can be disheartening and it can be disappointing to not be where we want to be. We're not experiencing the life experiencing that we have. So those emotions are very valid, and there's nothing wrong with having those things, right? And I think it is important sometimes, like I said, to have those containers where you can voice it from a place of like, I just need something. I just need there to lighten this load, or just kind of get it out of my head so maybe I can get a little bit more clarity on it, right? But we were speaking specifically about that. And one of the things I noticed myself doing for sure, and then, just with friends and clients and so forth, is that we tend to, when something is still reoccurring in our lives, like an emotion or a trigger, like a heartbreak or, grief, or if it's something we're wanting to manifest and it's not happening, like the end result hasn't happened, we tend to like default, I believe, or definitely I do, right? But I've noticed we default to like this blanket statement of like, I'm not over this yet. Nothing has changed. Nothing has shifted. Nothing has manifested, right? So because the ending result is not there, we're so quick to say nothing has happened, right? And I will guarantee you that staying in that narrative will guarantee that nothing will ever change or happen. Because again, everything in life is about energy and vibration. And it's about, where are you vibrating at, right? Are you vibrating at the energy and the frequency of the other side of that emotion or to that manifestation, right? So again, these are big things, it's like, okay, well then what do I start? What do I do? It can be feel very, very overwhelming, right? So I'm not going to say simple because it's one of those things that it's simple in like theory, but then when you apply it, you're like, this is not simple at all. But one of the ways that I have noticed, one of the tools that I have implemented that really has allowed me to practice coming from a place of self-love and self-acceptance and really has made it easier for me to finally get to the other side has been to have self-awareness. And what do I mean by that? Okay, so let's say that you got triggered again. Somebody could have been the same person or someone new or a new situation or the same situation, and all of a sudden you got triggered again. And instead of going straight into the narrative of like, I can't believe this happened again. Why is this happening again? Let's take a breath. You know what I want to say? Let's step back and let's become the witness to actually hear and see what is going on. Yes, you were triggered again, but can you give yourself the grace of self-awareness and love and acceptance and bring awareness to looking at what has changed this time? Maybe it was just the fact that you were self-aware that there was a trigger. Maybe before you didn't even know you were getting triggered and that's why you were having anxiety or overwhelming. But now you have the awareness that there are things that trigger you. That is a huge milestone. That's very different from where you were the previous time. Maybe this time the trigger didn't lead to you having a nasty conversation with someone, or maybe it did, but maybe it didn't last as long as it usually did. Maybe this time you kind of caught yourself. And whether you caught yourself and stopped the conversation or you caught yourself but you still continued, can you give yourself the grace of the self-awareness of looking at what was different this time? How did you show up this time? And not by taking score, okay? Again, this is the fine balance, a dance of balance and dance of life. It's not about taking score. It's not about taking out your little notebook and giving yourself check marks and stars and, stickers. I know we are born and raised in the culture like that. And I'm sure those things have their time and place. But this is not about taking score of what did I do right? What did I do wrong? Okay. It's not like you're not analyzing the situation. What you are doing is you're stepping back and you're giving yourself the permission to be the witness, to be self-aware of the subtle things that have changed. Because if you can't acknowledge and accept that this even one little thing changed, that's the energy of things changing. That's bringing self-awareness that there is momentum towards something different. Now you are recognizing, now you're starting to vibrate that something is changing, that this time this was a little different because of this, this, and this, right? And that gets you into the momentum of the bigger situation really shifting and changing, And so I really have noticed personally and just with other people that this one simple thing, instead of giving a blanket statement of nothing has changed, I can't believe this has happened again, my manifestation is not here, like that narrative is you're just gonna keep manifesting that narrative. I mean, that's just how the universe works. It's the law of attraction. That's just how it is. But if you want to be a co-creator, if you want to feel empowered, right, and really be that co-creating component in your life, then you need to change the narrative. And one simple way of doing that is bringing in self-awareness, not taking score, self-awareness as the witness of what really did happen this time, and giving and coming from a place of self-love and self-acceptance, not judging that you still were triggered, but realizing, okay, I was still triggered, but how did it feel this time? Can I acknowledge that maybe it felt a little different? That maybe it didn't take as long for me to recover from this? Did it give me a better insight and clarity of the boundaries that I want to have? On the other hand, if you're manifesting something, can you, have that self-awareness and the witness that there are little things that are helping you move forward in your manifestation? Maybe there's new ways of being. Maybe you're noticing new belief systems that need to come out. So the foundation of your beingness is strong enough and is at the vibration to finally let that thing in. So that's what I mean by self-awareness is a very important key to finally being able to move on and manifest and heal. It's a very important, and again, simple but not so simple thing that you can implement. But it really comes back to the whole premise and idea of cultivating a relationship with yourself that is very self-loving, that's very self-accepting, One last thing that's coming in as we're talking about this, I was talking to a client the other day, and they were expressing how it's really challenging for them to have a loving inner dialogue. And they say, it's so easy for me to do this with a friend. And I said, well, then become your best friend. If the inner dialogue, you're still noticing that it is very heavy and negative and judgmental, you really wanted to change, but you're having a hard time, then take that part, the part that you're talking to, energetically, like visually take it out in front of you, and now talk to yourself as if you were your best friend. And more likely than not, your narrative and what you're saying will more easily change, because we tend to sometimes be able to show up a little bit better from that place of self-love and acceptance with certain family members and friends, or even if you're a coach and you work with people, with your clients. So sometimes just pivoting it from the internal dialogue to put yourself in front of yourself and have that conversation, sometimes that can also just be very helpful in changing that narrative. So just wanted to share that with you guys today. As usual, feel free to leave any comments or questions below, and any suggestions for future topics. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.